Good morning, this is Around the House with Kay and Tom. Today I am going to fix a very small corned beef brisket. I've read up on this and it says try to buy the point cut. It will be a tender piece of meat, and most of the cuts you see is flat cut. But I did find a point cut meat, and it's just corned beef brisket. And all we have to do, this is so simple, all you have to do is rinse it off because of the salt that they use to package. What we need to do is we just need to rinse it off. In the packet there also comes a little pack of seasoning. Sometimes I use this and sometimes I don't. Today I think I will use it. So all you have to do is, I'm going to cook mine in the crock pot today. So I'll just put the corned beef in the crock pot, cover it with beef broth. You can use water, but I've been told that the beef broth will make it better, more flavorful. I will be cooking it in this crock pot. I've set my crock pot up on 2 pieces of tile, just so my countertop will not get but so hot. You always place your corned beef with the fatty side needs to be up. They say what happens with this is that it protects the rest of your meat, keeps it from drying out. And we're just going to sprinkle the spice on top of it. You don't have to rub it in or nothing, because once you put the water on it, it's not going to stay there anyway. And I am going to be using, I've got beef broth. And always remember, whenever you are using anything like this, to sort of shake it up before you cover it. You know, since this is such a little brisket, I'm going to use a smaller crock pot because this is my big crock pot. So let's just get my smaller crock pot over here. And as you can see, it fit in that pot really good. And I've already poured my juice in here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it right back over this one. And as you can see, the water's not quite up over my meat, and I want my meat completely, my brisket completely covered. And it even says that to look at it just every now and then and keep the water up over the top of the brisket. There we go. Now we'll put the lid on it. That's all there is to this. And as I say, this is just a 2.52 pound of beef brisket. Make sure you get the point cut if you possibly can. It took a can of beef broth to cover this meat in this crock pot, whereas if I used the big one, it would have taken 2 containers of that. So we're going to let it cook, and we're going to let it cook for about from 3 to 5 hours, and I'll come back. Okay, this has been cooking now for about 5.5 hours. Let's just see what we've got. Put the lid back on it in case it's not done, then I can just put it back in there. So let's just see how it is to cut. I just cut a thin piece to start off with, just to see. I do not even need a knife to cut this. I thought sure I would need a knife to cut it once I got it on my plate. Do you see how tender that is? Oh yes. Okay, that's my corned beef. Turned out really pretty, really tender. Now I'm going to steam some cabbage, and I am going to have cabbage and corned beef tonight. And again, this is Around the House with Kay and Tom. Please subscribe and offer me your comments. And this was nothing but a corned beef brisket, point cut. There is a lot of difference in a point cut and a flat cut. I used beef broth on it, and this had a packet of spices in it, and I put the spice in it too. But it has really got a very good taste, flavor. And I could go ahead and do a lot of things today while this was cooking. I just put it in the crock pot and just put the beef broth on it and just let it cook. So come back and see me again. Thank you for joining my channel. I will talk with you later. Have a good afternoon.